Coming from the Truspace, we ain't entertaining neighbors. I don't give a fuck what you say. Found the universal coochie, planting seeds and birds fruit. Now I'm really looking juicy. Welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the Truspace. Welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the Truspace.
Welcome to Truspace. I'm your astrologer, Open Book. It's my partner.
I am Harith, and welcome back to Truspace, guys.
And this is your weekly horoscope. So, starting off with today, Sunday, March the 6th, we can see Mercury in Aquarius is coming into an exact square, looking like a T square with the nose. So this is causing some very life-changing, destiny-sparking conversations to start coming up, or information to be dropped down to you with that T-square, creating that opening. What do you think about that?
Mercury in Aquarius is basically putting us in a position to really think about being fixated, rooted in the energy of thoughts, ideas, association, networking about different things, unique things, Uranus, and trying to give structure to these things. This is where our mind have been for a while. This is what we're really thinking about. Crypto, the whole collective energy from a technological point of view, all the way to a way for us to associate, because crypto is about association on a business level, blockchain level, technological level. So this is something I was really paying attention to, and I think a lot of people in the also is paying attention to. And with that square to the North Node and Taurus and Scorpio, like you said, it definitely has to do with faith. Every time it squares anything that squares the North Node and the South Node, it always reminds you of a life path, change you have to do. A reminder, you have to detach from the South Node, your animalistic desires, to go towards your North Node, which was towards getting material realm, being fixated and rooted there, getting values, stability, because Uranus is right there, so everything is quite unstable. And that square is a reminder for you to go through that path. But it's through Aquarius, is being through a real man who knows how to associate, as opposed to these lower animals, Taurus, the bull, and Scorpio, the scorpion.
I feel what you mean, like an actual logical perspective to be able to move forward, because Aquarius is looking forward, trying to plan ahead and move ahead and trying to bring in some new iteration that can be taking these shapes and form. And I love how you were talking about how crypto and how that ties in with that Aquarian energy, and with the North Node in Taurus and the South Node in Scorpio. It's heavy emphasis on material and resources, and with Scorpio, it's other people's resources and shit like that you would be looking at or desiring or manipulating and stuff like that. So they're hands down, that's going to be a big conversation. So we should look out within that world for that type of information to drop.
But also
for sure. And with the North Node and Taurus.
But also with the whole war with Ukraine, Russia getting a lot of some money system sanctioned. Guess what that put them in a position to do? To go towards crypto. It's a whole line of news that like a whole path you could see. That's where they're pushing the world. Whether you guys believe it or not.
To crypto with all of those sanctions. So it's like they're going to have to find a way to break up from that system, and then crypto is just ready, waiting to go and do that.
I think crypto got created in the Silicon Valley during 2012. And I think that's when we had the solstice, and so on and so forth, which is quite crazy. So like you see, they've been planning that for a long time. The same thing they did with the fiat money system from the Federal Reserve, how they took all the gold. It's the same thing. And their Pluto return is coming in.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Hey. Yep. And you're dead ass with that shit, because I remember, or when looking up, when they were talking about the monetary system and how, with the fiat currency, with the paper money, and how it used to be backed by gold, and how they made that transition to just making it paper. It was like a slow transition, or they recorded how much money they started printing at first for maybe like 10 years, and then they stopped. So they were held accountable for what they were doing, tracking what they were doing after they left gold, something physical, something finite that they could control, and then 10 years down the line they forgot. I feel like something
The same
similar
thing.
what's gonna happen with
Exactly.
crypto, where right now everybody's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's decentralized, or you don't have to pay a fee and all of that shit. Yeah, nigga, 5 years, 10 down the line, when everybody's on this shit, and they just say, oh, you have to pay 10 coins for this shit now. It's like, what? Now we're in the same position.
But also, I want you guys to remember that since we know astrology, we know that what's going to happen in the world, where it's going. Imagine if you had the opportunity to invest in Tesla when it was in $2, few cents. Right now, Tesla is at around $1,000. Facebook, $500, $200. Imagine if you had the chance to invest in Uber before it became Uber, Facebook before it became Facebook. So, like, you know these timelines, you could jump ahead of time, or at least get to know the system, because it's Mercury. It's like it's making you think about that world. You have no choice because your awareness, the sun, been through it, and now you're thinking about it, and then Venus or Mars gonna be really push you towards that world. So you have no choice. The same, you have no choice essentially because you're already using the system. You might as well get to learn the new system.
That's definitely true. I think there's a lot of resistance to that type
I'm
of stuff.
open to anything if there's a chance I can
we're already
get
in
with
it.
them, yo. Like you can't hate. You see the way
I get what you mean. Yeah, you can't hate the player. Exactly, or at least build your own stability so that you can, go on some type of power level. It shouldn't be some type of antagonistic thing because now that's all you're looking at. And that's all of that really ties in with that Mercury and Aquarius type shit because we dive into that mentality with Aquarius with you're dealing with your associations and you're dealing with fixating on your own individual thoughts and the communications that you had. You really get into that tribal type mindset or that separate, the this is me and others type of mindset. But so it's really easy, especially when you're with Mercury in there, when you're having that conversation, when you're dropping that knowledge, you're probably really only talking to and looking at, like-minded people in that type of echo chamber type stuff. But you really may miss out on some of the facts and tips and just overall knowledge that you can gain from all aspects, if you were to kind of group humanity together within that aspect, then you'll be able to download a hell of a lot more, then use that for whatever purposes
from a
that
whole
you
medical
see fit.
astrology point of view, right now Mercury being in Aquarius is allowing you to develop more neurological patterns towards association and connecting ideas together because there's different types of neurons in your brain and nervous system. Aries represents just regular neurons, but the 11th house Aquarius represent things they call astrocytes, like literally the term astro, star, and then site, cells basically. So the star cell within your body, but the star cell, which is Aquarius with the 11th house, you know what it does? It allows your brain cells and different systems within your body to associate together. The same way it plays out through the Aquarius archetype that allow people to associate with different groups of people, but as an inside level thing, but also an outside external level thing. And the square towards the north node, and the square towards the north node and the south node is a reminder for you to build on your hormonal system, your stability, because that's what stability provides. It provides a stable hormonal system for you to sleep well, for you to eat well, and for you not to go crazy and so on and so forth. Because the moon is exalted in Taurus, so the whole lunatic energy is right there. So this is why hormones could like really throw people off. Like you always hear about females talk about hormonal issues and so on and so forth. And then the square to the south node in Scorpio is like you're releasing waste. You have to burn off that fixated water and things of that nature. So this is yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's crazy because even in tarot, Aquarius is the star. That's fried.
The cell, yeah.
But it's like what you were saying. Aries is the individual, the neuron, but Aquarius is the network.
This is why they sextile each other.
Allows the information to get distributed. That's interesting.
So looking at the zodiac, how your brain works, how the whole thing works. You know?
Ain't that beautiful?
Like you really live inside your body. Like you know how to go to different systems and then talk to different blood cells and so on and so forth.
Hands down.
Because you hear them always talk in your own head. So what they call themselves, as in selves, and so on and so forth.
Conversing with each other, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As in selves. Yeah, you have trillions and trillions of selves. That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, that's crazy. So yeah, that's Sunday, well today, March 6th. So looking at March 7th, we have the moon moving into Taurus, and it is moving over Uranus and the North Node in Taurus, like what we were just speaking on. So it's kind of, we were already kind of delving into that energy with Uranus being in there too. And you see that struggle with Uranus, because it being home in Aquarius, how it's really creating that dynamic with Taurus and Aquarius, that we've really been playing on that dynamic in our value system and our monetary system, and what's being held stable is really being progressed and changed, and relying on who you associated with, and you're the information that you know.
The moon in Taurus is basically us coming from the moon in Aries, and before that we had the moon
So how
in
you think
Pisces,
this
the new
energy
moon in
gonna play
Pisces,
out?
which allowed us to have a new, refreshed, emotional way to feel about our dreams, our illusions, our faith system, what we could do on a on a collective level related to our imagination. Can we mold our imagination and our belief system for the whole collective? Because Pisces from the God realm, like Aquarius and Capricorn, they do things for the whole collective, or their energy affects the whole the collective. And yeah, 100%. So after we
Brahma.
had the new
Now
moon,
that's
we
what I
had a
think
new
of
emotional way to
Pisces.
really look
The
about these
shimmering
things. We
pool
had
of
a
like
new refresh
Brahma. Where
start,
it's like,
and we only you guys gotta remember we had the sun there, Jupiter there, conjuncting each other, so it's really intense. Allowing the sun was going through the Pisces house, allowing us to really travel within our subconscious mind, within our dreams and illusion. If you guys remember the last week through all those conjunctions, and when the moon was in Sagittarius squaring these things, the sun, Neptune, and Jupiter, it really tested our belief system. And when the moon go into Taurus, this is gonna be a sextile. We're gonna be able to stabilize, bring down those dreams and illusion, those immutable waters, give them a structure, give them a shape or form with our value. Do we value them? Taurus, the second house. Do we give them a structure and things of that nature? And the whole moon, after that, we had the moon in Aries, which motivated us, and then we're in the moon in Taurus right now. So,
yeah, I feel you, because after that we gave to life to those dreams and imaginations when the moon was in Aries, and you really tried and started it, and you jumped into it, and just like with that new moon, like what you're saying with the new moon in Pisces, it puts you into that subconscious realm. I feel like that's like a teeing up for type of escapism, making you, because you're being confronted with your subconscious mind. So it's either you're dealing with it, or you run away from it. And this is the people who get lost in illusions, or who allow the mirages that are more pleasant than what they're actually what their subconscious actually trying to show them, kind of get drifted off. And then when the moon goes into Aries, and now you're trying to spark and initiate new feelings about this, when you're trying to give birth to and step out in those waters of those dreams that you had planted. Now that it's going into Taurus, you're kind of seeing a real reality of that, or it solidifies. It's kind of leaving the mist type area, and now you're starting to see these things solidify and where the value actually was, and both dealing with Venus energy, with Venus being exalted in Pisces, and then Venus ruling Taurus. So it's like you're kind of seeing Venus descend down. You're kind of seeing the values that you went in
and while we had the
and
moon,
starting to see the
and while we had the
energy
whole
exchange
moon in Aries,
of that
which was
dream
really
of planting those seeds
sparking
within that
that
area
energy, making us passionate. Mars
that you're doing
and
with the
Venus were
universe at this point.
Pluto, making things way more intense than it usually is, almost to the point it creates control, power, struggle, and things of that nature. When the moon was in Aries, we really went into war that day. But right now in Taurus, we're building, we're stabilizing,
Making things way more intense.
and Uranus, and Uranus in Taurus is a reminder. Hey, the ground is shaky. I know you came down from the higher dimension, the mutable water, Pisces.
Yeah, find an equilibrium.
Aries. And right now you're in Taurus, the fixated material Rome. But Uranus is right there, shaking the ground. You can't go there yet as a reminder. Things you gotta stay up there, You really mold this thing going on for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's true. Because imagine if you're in the illusion with the new moon in the Pisces when you're coming into the Taurus now, and you're feeling it's moving over Uranus, and you're feeling that shaky ground. Now you're like, oh yeah, I do have to manage that higher realm better so that I can be more stable and handle this shakiness better. So it's kind of like send you back up there to reconcile and go back to the subconscious mind that you have been running away from, that Jupiter's trying to make you experience right now with it doing its transit. And then we are having the moon in Taurus, where Mercury and Saturn in Aquarius on Monday. So how you think this energy is going to play out?
Value, our terra firma. So it's you trying to communicate, but for the sake of practicality, and the whole square, or is a reminder, is a tension created between the air realm and the earth realm. You're trying to bring these thoughts down here. You try to condense them, and the square is giving you enough tension so you could do that. So you could actually work on that. Considering the fact that you the ruler of Aquarius or co-ruler Uranus is in Taurus, and this is even though how they're squaring, there's some sort of good energy working in totality.
Yeah, for sure, and you can kind of see it because it's kind of teaching you your values or your self-worth at the end of the day. That kind of through that shakiness, because like the value of the information that you have or the associations that you have, because when you're coming onto that shaky ground, now you're starting to see what you have, and what you need type deal, and where your talents are, and what you're lacking, what value you're bringing to the table, your self-worth type of deal. All of that's starting to expose it, especially once you start going into those higher realms of reality, like of Capricorn, Aquarius, when things are getting so shaky, just like how you were talking about with Uranus and Taurus. I was shaking the ground. You're hyped. You're bringing that back down. If you don't have control within that aspect, it can be pretty catastrophic. And the ground you wanted to land on
exactly
is ended up, leveled out.
We have it in Aquarius,
it
and
doesn't
if you
work
look at
that
the
way.
whole
You
society,
need to be able to
you can
control
really
that
see
energy.
Saturn and Aquarius, them using restrictions.
That's why astrology is so important
to control
and powerful.
the way we associate together, the way we communicate, the way we network. You can even put crypto there because they can use it against us. They used everything against us regardless, but either way. But it's just a great reminder because Saturn stays in one sign, I think, for like 2 years or 2.5, really allowing you to build, really allowing you to mature, take your time. Even though we hate Saturn, you're gonna really appreciate Saturn because they've always been there, But nah, you don't want to go up there.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to the seventh heaven and so on and so forth. You want to stay in the first, second, and third, or fourth and fifth. You don't want to take responsibility.
You're gonna appreciate it anyway. Yeah. That's that at the end of the day, that's what it is, the responsibility, the weight of it, the having to be accountable for it, every time, having to have a structure that's in place that is going to guarantee you know the government's gonna get your ass. You know what I mean? If you were to step out of line and stuff like that, because they're Capricorn, regardless, every time they're going to do it. You know, they have that responsibility, that accountability, really
Oh
embodying
my
that
God.
Capricornian, Saturnian energy. And just a little note with the Saturn in Aquarius, this is the same. This is where Saturn was when Hitler got into power. I just want that to be known. And they were censoring the Jews. They were really censoring and pushing propaganda. Bro, like this is no and really how you associate. They're
Yeah.
pushing people into groups, labeling, no, you have to wear the Star of David. What are we doing? Wearing masks and shit like that, labeling people unvaccinated, vaccinated and stuff like that. So it's really, you see that separating, that tribalism of associations going on, and that being the basis of the reality that we are living in. And that's what's happening. And it's crazy how it's playing that parallel to what happened back then. Niggas being deleted off of social media for whatever they're saying and stuff like
And
that.
I
What's
really
different
like the
than when they
way how
were
you
burning the books
spoke about
by
Saturn being
Jewish
filtered
authors
through
and stuff like
their
that, simply
system.
just because
Because
they
right
didn't
now,
like what
if
they
you
were.
guys heard
And
about
so
the
it's
stock
like you
market right
see
now,
the energy
we're going through
being
a lot
reflected, or
of
Saturn
almost
carrying
they're losing
similar
money,
energies into
and there's
this
some
modern
deals that
age.
certain banks make together against certain stocks. Like if you guys heard about GameStop, how it jumped from $1 to $400 because we have those companies who shorting. Basically, they're betting against companies to fail down during the whole COVID-19 pandemic and so on and so forth. And basically, they lost their bets while the groups of people who piled up in the internet, regular humans, joined forces on Reddit and decided to go against these banks. And they won against it. They made them lose over $100 billion and so on and so forth. And the whole group that runs it is the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. But the main guy who runs it is Libra, and Saturn is exalted in Libra. So the whole him being there blows my mind. You can see Saturn on the people who runs the higher levels of Congress, the government, and things like that. Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. 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 Mm.
And the sun falls in Libra too, so you can
Yeah, and
see
the
him
whole
going battling against individuals. You know
and
what
the
I
whole
mean?
thing
Like, you know,
going on with
like
inflation, things like that, is because what's
individual
going on with the
Lone Stars
banking system.
kind
They're
of being his
betting against
opposition.
companies,
You
but they
know,
end up
being
losing. So that takes a
opposed to him.
major hit into the
That's
economy
real
because these
interesting.
banks are invested
The
in
battle of
multiple
the individual.
companies
You
that
know,
run
he's
things
kind of
that
like
you buy every day,
against that.
Walmart, KFC, and things like that. They're invested in these things. So when they lose big, you could see an economical shaking happen because they are what created this economy. The U.S. is a corporation, is a company, and those Congress and all those other levels, states, Texas, Florida, all these are different corporations. They're interacting together and they run the whole business of the United States. They're a 10 house.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Legit, wholeheartedly. And how it works like that. And then that's how
You
you
see it in
have to
Canada,
associate with
how
on that
oh,
level,
you can even see it
or
in
that's the
Canada
structure
how we
that
have like
they're
Quebec,
imposing
them
to control,
retaining the whole French
to
language while people in Ontario
contain
speak English. You
society
know, these
right
people are
now.
French back then. They're the
That
French
is
people
very
who came from
interesting.
there. So they have a whole like a sovereignty type of deal, really.
And
And you see
we
how
have
we interact with different states and Canada,
yeah.
basically, how they associate, how Quebec is more sovereign in a way, essentially.
For sure. And man, you can kind of feel it. I remember when I was in BC in Alberta, and when I was tree planting, and it was literally like a frequency change. Like you feel like a little shiver when you go again across the border, because it's just the vibe really changes, you know. It's more relaxed in British Columbia, more, you know, peace, love,
Yeah.
and tree hugging, and then Alberta was well, at least at the time, it was more oil, and we're about making this money, and and beef and farm and stuff like that.
That.
But in terms of so yeah, it definitely does have those little micro associations, which I like that structure of better in the states.
Yeah.
Because the states have more individual powers than the provinces do here in Canada.
100%.
So it's interesting.
And
I
if you look
wonder
at the whole
how that
map, like
affects
the
our
obviously
structure,
the map is not
on that
the right
Saturnian
map. The
level, you know what
sizes
I
are
mean?
different and so on and so
Because
forth.
they
Majority of
have
people wouldn't
stronger
actually live in
individual
Canada.
pieces,
We
if you get what I
we live
mean, because each
actually
state
very
has
close
more
towards
control, and then
America, because
Canada's
the
more of a
upper parts of
blending
Canada, it's
type
all like
aspect.
empty. Like the Masons did not go up there yet to build and so on and so forth. This is why majority of people, they want to live closer towards the water, like Toronto and so on and so forth, because that's where the Masons came first. And if you go to downtown, you can really look at their churches, their Masonic buildings, all those different unique structures and things like that. Like they like to associate them with Tartaria and so on and so forth. But you go downtown, man, you see all type of shit, 100%, yo. I seen one of their churches. Their churches lines up where the sun rises every single time, and they have a whole a whole thing that the sun goes through. And
You'll
you
see
can
all
see
that
it's almost
shit.
like
Yeah,
a
you might
fucking
even see a
telescope.
lodge. Fuck around and find a lodge just poking out.
Yo.
Jeez, that's crazy.
100%.
That's
And the whole thing
crazy.
with the United States having more
That's crazy. And we just sleeping,
it's almost like they have more
and they're probably just doing
individual
some
groups, but that goes back
nothing
all the way to the
that you
Indians and so on
couldn't
and
do,
so forth.
or nothing
Them
that's
having different tribal
like
affiliation. In America,
spooky
we
or
have
above,
different
but we're just not
multiple
privy to
Indian
it, or we're
tribes.
just
This
not
plays out all the way through America,
giving that
them being
attention.
multiple states
That's
and
wild.
things like that. Because at some point, this is why Mexico, this is why Texas has a lot of sovereign energy towards the others compared to other states, because at some point it was part of the whole Mexican Empire and the whole Spanish and Indian alliance or versus against each other, and you get the whole thing with people in West Africa and the whole slave trade and so on and so forth. But the whole system of America is built on like the indigenous people who are already there. Essentially, it got molded by it naturally because of the energies that just existing there.
Yep. Yeah. For sure. It's crazy. A lot of people don't even know. Just looking at the dynamics of what's going on now of the Republican mindset. Republican automatically means racist, white person. When the Republicans were started by black people,
Wow,
and it was literally like a
Abraham
different
Lincoln,
topology. Like they're like the South
one of them or either of them was in
is
Capricorn and the other
Republican
was in
and red
Aquarius.
states and stuff
So
like
that's the
that,
whole
and the
them
North
using the
is
Saturn
blue.
energy.
During the Civil War,
that
Abraham
is
Lincoln
crazy, yo.
it was the
Like
other way
all the
around.
Saturn
The
energy,
South was blue
Sun
states, and
Capricorn
then
and Moon
the
Aquarius.
top was
That sounds
the
like a perfect
Republicans.
president to me.
Abraham Lincoln being black in the goddamn South.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And to really to put structure onto everything, because that was the Civil War, you know what I mean? And how are you going to
100%. It's crazy how it plays out through like
it allows them to go into the international
winter
stage,
season,
you know, just
but,
like with Capricorn, how you're starting to go into
cardinal
more
signs or signs
collective
that
energy. He
begin
was
the
like the
season-
management thing that
seasons,
came
they
in,
can't fixate
that
the energy for a
put
very
all
long
the
time.
all of
This
the
gives birth
workers
to
or all
something,
the
and then they
things
crash
in
down.
order so that they can
But with
enter
the
into
fixed
the
seasons
stage,
right
and then World
after,
War One,
you
you know,
could
all
fixate
of
the
that shit
cardinal
started
energy,
happening
fixate
after.
the practical earth energy from Capricorn into fixated air. So to me, he plays out the whole very important collective energy type of person. mm, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think it plays
yeah,
out
because
like
he's
you
able
seeing
to and
how
then take it to
one
the next
season
level. It's
plays out
kind
to
of
a
like
person fully.
yeah, that's
For
interesting. I wonder if
example,
that
Lucas'
dynamic
sun
plays
is in
out in
Aries,
people's with charts where, like,
moon is in
say,
Gemini,
like with me, I'm a
Truspace,
Scorpio
Cancer.
and then a
So through
Sag,
him,
or
you
say
see
if
the
somebody's like an
whole
Aries
spring
and
birth
and
energy, and
have
then him
Taurus
crashing
energy
because
like
we
that,
know
that they
him.
really, you
He
can
does not
see that
sustain his
the
energy,
jump,
and he loses
how they
energy
play with that bridge.
very quickly. Yeah, he gets bored very quickly, and then he loses interest, and then he loses, I'm tired, and he cannot sustain that birth energy, and it plays out to all wherever you have your majority planets
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
I, and if you have like planets well placed, like a little bit in everything, you like well balanced out.
yeah.
You can sustain
Sustaining is
yourself
not.
much more
Yeah,
easier. You may not
yeah,
be, you may not have the ability to give birth like Lucas still. On the positive side, he might really be able to give birth to some shit way harder than anybody. But can he sustain that spaceship?
yeah, yeah, for sure. That's his sun and moon. That's how he's acting.
Same, 100%.
Yeah, real shit, real shit. Like,
He gets
there's
into
an example
trouble.
with Lucas. Guy gave me every
And the
job
whole
for
Orion
like the
constellations
last 2
are right
years.
there. This is
But
representation of all the whole
he's always getting like new
chaotic type
jobs and
of
stuff like
energy
that, and I
from
can't,
Orion and Pleiades
initiate new
crashing
things
against
like
each
that.
other.
But I can get into a position at a place and really hold on to it. Probably better than he can, simply because he maybe loses
Yeah,
interest,
split that
and wants to do other things and
100%.
shit like that. But
Yeah.
definitely
Every
see
time I
that
see
dynamic.
Lucas, all I see is
Mm-hmm.
this is the spring season. It came back.
Yeah, yeah. So really being a springtime person, yeah, for sure. Spring, jumpy. Yeah,
Mm. Um, if
that's
our Mercury
jokes.
is there, we
So
know we're
yeah,
thinking
ending
about that,
off
and we're in the Sun Mercury
Monday,
going to Pisces
ending off
later on.
Monday
So Venus
with
and Mars
Venus
going
and
there.
Mars
This is
entering
just
into
more emphasis
Aquarius now.
towards this
So
Aquarius energy, but the
um,
whole Mars and Venus conjuncting
now
each other,
Venus and
coming
Mars
from
holding
Capricorn,
hands
conjuncting each
together,
other,
they're
and they had the
waltzing
whole
into Aquarius. How do you
retrograde,
think
so on
this
and
is
so
going to
forth.
start
And then we
impacting the
had the whole
collective?
conjunction towards Pluto, and the whole conjunction with the Pluto to me is almost like a checkpoint. Pluto want to see if you have utilize your Mars energy, passions, desires, Venus, what you love
Yeah.
and appreciate, what you would like to indulge in the right way, or were you flunked out there the whole travel retrograde in Capricorn? And that when they're gonna go through that whole conjunction with Pluto, it's purifying those things. It's really making you
Mm-hmm.
see. Have you been taking your time to see what you wanted to build? What do you want to receive? Earth energy. What do you want to restrict? And what do you want to create boundaries in with that Earth element before you start to utilize Aquarius, the masculine side of Saturn? So Mars and Venus going on there is just this is the time for you to express, communicate, associate all those things you're building, taking action on Mars, loving Venus in Capricorn. If you were just paying attention. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
For sure, for sure. It's kind of like a transformation,
Mm-hmm.
or destruction. It's either transformation into the shape and form that you can maintain this integrity and take it into the future, or it's going to destroy the structure that you have been previously living on, and then you're gonna have to rely on your associations or who's ever there. You know, you're gonna be the social cause, or you're gonna kind of be all flunked out when you go into
This is why
with all of this
Aquarius are
Aquarian
known to
energy,
be
because there's no
airheaded, like
structure,
being lost
no
on all those
grounds,
thoughts,
no
and then they can
stability
ground
to
these
maintain
things. So why they
this
rule by
higher
Saturn,
knowledge that
and
you have. There's
this
nowhere
is
to
why
put it into
Aquarius, the
place.
11th house,
And then this is
in
now
conjunct or
looking like the people who
Virgo.
can
Virgo
talk a
is these
lot
things
and
being
have all of
practicalized
this
and being put
information and
in
shit like that, but
routines
there's
and form.
nothing
Virgo
in
is
their
basically
structure in their
Aquarius
life
or
that
knowledge
represents
or that
this
energy
information.
being
You know, it
done in
doesn't
a
fall
practical way.
back onto anything.
The whole mutable Earth too. Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Be still on the ground. I get what you mean, because you know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you haven't traveled too far up, you know, too far down the zodiacal scale. So when you come into that Virgo energy, the analytical, you're still kind of
Uh,
feet
the
to the
fixi-
ground. But when
and
you get
and
into
and the
Aquarius, you're
fixated
floating, you're in a
modality and
bubble.
things
You
of
know,
that
you
nature.
you high
And
up,
because
and if you didn't
Aquarius
have
energy could
a
make
stable
you
sense of what the
associate
ground had
people, but I
felt,
guess
you're just gonna
also
keep on.
rebel against your own
You're just
association,
gonna keep on
destroy your own
flying,
groups type of
and there's
thing.
more than enough information into
This
this world.
this
I
is
hate
why
how
it's
people are being
associated with
so
revolution and things of that nature. And if you've
conclusive
ever heard about that thing,
with
the
the
American
information, and I feel
Revolution, I
like
can't
that's a
remember which one,
Saturn
but
and
one of them
Aquarius
started in around 4 in the morning,
energy too,
around
and
5
maybe
in the
Venus
morning,
and Mars is
and
gonna come
those
and change all of
hours,
that, or
those
expose
are
more.
Aquarius hours, the 11 house hours, and with the whole Uranus energy back to it. If you're gonna revolt, you might as well revolt when nobody see it coming, or do something crazy like that. And I think one of the wars in Spain happened like that too. So that's quite interesting how it plays out.
Yep, yep, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that reminds me of tarot. There's what is it? The Seven of Swords. Is Moon
Crazy how
in
just a
Aquarius,
painting
and
or
it
a
just
picture
shows a
that
thief
display the
stealing the
archetype
sword,
could give you that much
stealing swords at night.
information.
You know,
If
it's
you're
kind of
intuitive and you
using the
understand
cover of
speculative
the moon,
energy and
using
things
the
of that
cover
nature.
of the low subconscious to go and steal information, to go and attack the adversaries, or to to go and rebel and oppose against the opposing force. You know, kind of using that veil. So wholeheartedly see that playing out. That's a whole tarot card. That's a whole tarot card playing out. That's funny. Facts, yo. I'm gonna give y'all some sauce. You could really take that to a whole nother level. There's a book called Inner Guide Meditation that really blew me away with his use of tarot for meditation. It's like this nigga was playing out internal tarot card spreads with his motherfucking imagination, and the type of shit that this nigga was doing and talking about. I'm like, wow, like you're really, and I just, that this is what the ancients were doing. They didn't need TV like that because they practiced those visualization techniques. You can project it in your reality. Just like a kid, you can go and look, and you're actually talking. You see the imaginary friend. You allow your imagination to dress him and give him features and shit like that. And he was using these
This is
tarot
why
archetypes. So it's like you get to know
art is so
the Empress,
significant
and then
in
you
every culture.
visualize
Every
it,
time you
and
hear
then
about
you
even
have her
every single
converse with
religion,
you,
they
and you
have
get
a
to
lot
intake
of
that
art
energy,
in
which is
them, because that
that
brings
stuff on a higher level,
what was
because
it, the
all
right
of them
brain,
are just playing out
which
internal
is logical,
natures
and which
and
one
stuff that
deals
is
with
going
the
on inside us. But now
right brain.
he just created that
Because
link
art deals
to
with the
put
whole right
visuals to it,
brain and things of that nature,
visuals
which
to
allow
those
us to
internal
go much
natures, which
more further and expand,
blew
as
me away.
opposed
I
to
was like,
get
oh
trapped
shit,
in our logical
that's
brain,
magic right there. That's
reptilian brain,
fucking magic.
Brain and things of that nature. And this is why also people back then were into hieroglyphics and things of that nature. The people in America and the people in And that's how they ruled, because they didn't want to write in form of letters and things of that nature to avoid getting trapped by logic, which is the reptilian brain.
Right
And so
brain.
they talk about snakes,
Right brain,
serpents, and things of that
creative,
nature,
left brain, logical.
which is just one level to it. They wanted to go towards the right brain because it's an open portal for infinity, and you can mold these things that bring them into existence and things of that nature. So they were really into the type of writing that was basically right brain, as opposed to us right now speaking and
And
writing
that's how they
English
rule.
with all those Germanic type of categorization type of energy and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. 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 Emo, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it all being arbitrary, and it all being, without meaning, and dry, because all of those letters and stuff like that is all arbitrary and to that point. But with the hieroglyphs, it is what it looks like. It's
100%.
telling
Like,
you emojis.
this is where
Emoji.
they start
Imagine emoji language.
doing their whole
Like the Forrest
rituals
Gump
and
shit
so on
with
and
the
so
nigga
forth.
running,
They put
chocolate
their
trees and
speculative
shit, and
energy in
it's Forrest
certain
Gump type
glyphs
shit.
to come up with certain
That's what
imagination,
those niggas
and
was
then
doing,
writing
and that's so
that
more.
out as
Look
a
at
form of a
emojis,
hieroglyph is
emotions.
them
Look,
almost
literally look at what we're
cementing
doing,
that
and
into
we're talking
reality.
about the
So they
right
were reading
brain,
out.
your
That's why they were
more
doing
fluid,
hieroglyphs everywhere, so they could see
emotive
it, so they could
side.
remember
The
what they were
energy
doing at
moves and
this
flows
specific
instead of
time, because obviously going
rigid
to
type,
astrology,
left
things of
brain
that
type
nature.
movement.
So they really use things like hieroglyphs and things of that nature to track the stars. And if you understand certain hieroglyphs, they try. Those talks about how they utilize masculine energy and to represent to represent men, and then they use the females to represent female energy and things of that nature. So they use animals to describe different archetype of energy that happens when the sun travels in the morning and at night, because you see different creatures. They were into like some form of
Yeah.
a practical way to stabilize themselves into existence, as opposed to getting lost in la la land with English and things of that nature. You get lost in more of a air element as opposed to the earth, which you can see every day. Understand what's going on around you. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
When you're in touch with your surroundings, yeah, for sure. And think about
Mm-hmm.
how that plays out in our like that's not as abstract as it seems. Think about of your environment. Say if you're a musician, you literally surround yourself with with the notes and the progressions and stuff like
With
that,
this thing, they got 88
and
keys from
emulsify
88
yourself into
constellation
that
keys.
language, whether you're doing
The whole
mechanics or
Greeks
in
and the
cars and stuff like that.
people in
It's a whole
Ireland and those
language
people
that
of
you
that
try and
nature.
immerse yourself into, and you kind of start to talk like that, and that builds your vision and how you see the world. And you don't look at a car the same anymore. You don't look at instruments the same anymore once you have the intimate relationship with them, for sure. And it's the same thing with your internal natures and expressing through that writing. Yeah, that is crazy. Um, I
Mm-hmm.
exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's look at Tuesday on March 8th. We have the moon in Taurus coming to trine Pluto and Cap. So kind of along the lines of what we were talking about, because how it we're feeling that shake, and it's coming off of moon conjuncting Uranus, moon conjuncting the north node, and then now it's conjuncting trining with Pluto. So Pluto's kind of giving it that long pass, or that boost that's setting it up to go and really further understand your sense of worth, your stability, and what will bring you that stability on that level. Pluto's really kind of showing you, and with the shaky ground, is showing you what you needed to have done, or the talents that you need, or what needs to be stable. It's kind of giving you that further insight. So it's not like you're on the ground shaking and then you don't know what to do, and because you're escaping the subconscious,
100%,
maybe you're not listening to the internal signs. It's like,
because all the
no,
planets
Pluto's
right
coming there
now, the sun,
too. So it's like, even if
Jupiter,
you're
and Neptune
neglecting
being
the
for a while,
emotion,
it's obviously
and you're
making us
ignoring what's
pull
going
out
on right
water,
now,
pull the
it's like
esoteric
it's
water, and if you
forcing you
if
to
you
look at
guys read the Bible,
reality
so on
and
and
the
so forth,
transformation that
they
is
had
going to
this whole
be
their allegory or
needed.
the verse about
It's
the
very
aspect of God
heavy energy
hovering
these
over the deep water, and
this
the deep
this
water is obviously
last
Pisces, the
month
12th
and
house,
this
the
month.
collective
It's crazy.
unconscious,
We're
the
really
mutable
coming
water.
into some
And what
type
did
of
he say after?
metamorphosis
Let there
as a
be light. That's
collective.
Aries. That's the
I can't
first
wait to
form of
Aries
imagination
season to
that
see
you had. So it's really
what's
preparing you
born out
to
of
go
this.
towards Aries
Crazy.
season, really, in my opinion, really. Ready to jump back here on Earth and fight. This is why Aries. This is why Aries is the alpha and Pisces is the omega, the ending to the beginning and the beginning to the ending. Uh, 100%.
Yeah, man, that's deep, because that's like God started at the end, or God was started at, or was the transition. Hmm. Yeah. 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 And you see that transition. Yeah, it's the same. Wow,
Oh.
that's interesting.
Mm, mm,
That's interesting. Yeah, Pisces
mm,
is really, man,
oh,
I wonder if anybody else
100%.
feels it
And
as heavy, which I'm
like
sure
the way
Soul
we're
Group
talking
does,
about it
but
right
we're
now,
really into this
me and
space
CC
where
going
you
through
have
all
to
these
believe,
imaginations,
like,
these
it's
visions,
really
these different belief
there's
systems, these
nothing
illusions that we've been through since
solid that
we're in
within
the age
the
of Pisces, so on and
experience
so
right
forth.
now,
We're
or
really
if you don't
analyzing these
have
things.
a
We're
sense of
really
understanding of
swimming
your
in
internal
those
natures
esoteric
and your
water that
subconscious mind,
explain
it'll
and things
feel
of
like
that
you're falling
nature,
down
but it's really
like an
you
endless
put a big there,
abyss,
obviously,
or,
really make you pay attention to
being
learning
consumed
and
by
extracting
this
knowledge
pool,
and
instead
wisdom
of being,
and trying to develop
exalted, or
fruits of your
studying
labor
it, or all of
there
that,
too.
being one with it. You're being consumed
And
by it.
it's about learning. Mm, 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 and this is why your sun, your main spaceship, your solar plexus, is right there, making you be able to see it. And the sun is hot and dry. It's just burning through all that Pisces 11 house wet and cold waters and things of that nature, really. And like Pluto there, really emphasizing you to give birth to a structure, because it's the cardinal Earth, and we have mutable water as opposed to fixated
It's not
Earth.
just
You
about
really try to
seeing
hold this,
it,
give this water
like
a
the
shape,
sun.
a form. Just try to
Exactly. You have
imagine
to
it real,
see
and then you try
inside. You
to
have to be
give
able
it a
to
shape, a
build
short
that
form. You
internal
try to give it a
image
structure.
on the
It's
inside. I
almost
feel
like
like
you're
that's
falling,
what
but you're
Jupiter's trying
building
to
to
show
fall,
you.
basically. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like you could get really lost since Venus is exalted and Pisces when it comes to the whole
Hmm.
archetype of Pisces, that's well. house. So as you go through that
Yeah,
delusion, illusion, that
yeah,
mess,
for
you can really
sure,
see
for
that Venus,
sure.
because
And
Venus is
building to
both
fall,
Lucifer,
that's
the
true.
light
Because
bearer, so on and so forth.
at
You can really see
Capricorn, it's
that
kind of
light,
like if you look at it as a
really
raising
see
up,
that
up
what you love,
to
you
that point,
appreciate, and
maybe
get
you
lost in
start,
that illusion and things
tipping
of
over,
that
or your
nature.
subconscious,
So
the
Jupiter's
energy at the
there,
top is going to,
like
and
taking
just trying
your
to give
hand.
shape and
Zeus is
structure to
helping you
it so that
walk
it
through
doesn't
all those
topple
the
over
realm of
everything that
Poseidon
you
in the
had
Greek
built
mythology,
up to
because
that point,
you're not
so
used to going there.
stays
And
going
we've been
up
there for
to
a
its
while trying to figure out
trajectory and
what
where it's
happened
supposed to
2,000
go.
years ago, what happened to the whole black, white, whatever you want to call them, things trying to get awakened. This is why Neptune went into Pisces in 2012. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hands down. And then you know what?
Mm-hmm.
On that topic, it's interesting because in medical astrology, Pisces rules the skin. And I wholeheartedly feel that you cannot discount that
Mm-hmm.
in when you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about a person. Like there's a reason why
Mm-hmm.
we are like that. And I think it has to do more so subconsciously, and the energy that the energy signature of me created that type of thing. Whatever that energy signature was and the
Mm-hmm.
significance of it manifested
Mm-hmm.
this type of skin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
It's
relating to
very
the
hard to understand
subconscious
because everything is in
Piscean
reverse.
realm.
We
The
came from
same thing
Pisces, the
with
12th house, all the way
everybody
into
else. So it's
Aries,
not
and
necessarily
physical
that
reality is out as us from Aries
that it's
to Pisces.
and
So when
then
we
you
look
look
at
how
things like
quick and easy it is when you
everything
think of
is
that
in
concept to
reverse.
go to war.
We
Aries is
looking
right there.
inside
How
out
quick and
and
easy
things
it
of
is
that
to
nature.
get
And we
lost
start
in
with
trying to
Pisces, the 12th
organize
house,
it.
playing a dream
Aquarius
and
is
an illusion for us
right
to
there,
come
but
back here. That
just sit within
means
that
when we
realm
come back in the
and
third
try and
dimension,
see what
we're
does that
gonna
mean
see
subconsciously. What type of
what Pisces
energy does
represent
that
physically
represent?
on the
Wholeheartedly.
front of
And
everybody.
truth be
The
told, there's
skin,
not
this
too
is
much
what you
answers
could see.
within that realm of reality because we don't
But
ask those questions.
speculatively,
But
from a spiritual point
I
of view,
feel there's
is in
something
reverses,
there
which
that
where we
that you'll be
came
able to
from and things
find
of that
something.
nature. So it's almost, it could help you, it could allow you to track it down, like where you come from and certain things of that nature. Because obviously you came down here with a group of spirits that got lost in a chakra or a geographical location which represents one of the 12 houses. And if you know that energy, you know which energy you got lost
Yep.
and things of that nature. Like if I'm like from Sudan, Eastern Africa, the northern part of things of that nature, I got lost in Aries, the first house. If you came from America, you got lost around the heart chakra and things of that nature. And if you live around the colder area, like you could really say we came from
Yeah.
Jerusalem and things of that nature. The whole allegory coming from the head chakra down here, which is kind of crazy because I came from the first house all the way to like Western society, America, Canada, which is the heart chakra. It's like I traveled from one chakra to another chakra, which is what we all are doing because we're little blood cells
Mm-hmm.
inside this being we live that lives in the fourth and the fifth dimension. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the summer season type energy.
Mm-hmm. And uh, and the fact right now we're blood cells living
Yeah.
inside this being. Some of us wish we were dead. Some of us want to leave Earth. Some of us see all this chaotic energy going on. The vaccine, COVID-19, the Ukraine and Russia war, and all those flunked out
Acting
crazy
just like how
energy.
our
This is
blood
really show us
vessels
the being
and
that we
tissues
live
and
inside
marrow,
is someone
operate
who
within our
died
body,
or someone
and
who's
just
lost
how their
basically, because it's
activity
as within
dictates
so without.
and
When we see what's
manipulates
happening right here, we
our
understand this person we
physiology.
live
It's the
inside.
same
There's something going
deal
on with
that's
him. It's
going on
crazy.
with
There's
Earth
something
and
gone,
the
something like that.
well-being and
And this is where
how
you hear
we act
about the
and how
whole
functional we
Orion,
are
which is Archangel Michael, who came
coincides
down here as Jesus
with just
Christ
like with
maybe
Earth.
2,000
How
years ago
functional its
with a
life
whole group of
is.
spirits like
Uh,
him. This is where the Jews,
Mirrors that.
Mohammedans, Saracen, Moors, all energy come from. That wanted us to separate from our lower animalistic desire because we live in around the Draco constellation or in the Centaur type of constellation, things of that nature. So really, wanted us to separate from our dragon, our serpent, our desire, and this is why we have all those snakes like allegories. Those because your the snake inside is your chakra, your kundalini, how it moves, and things of that nature, your thoughts and feelings. Mm-hmm. A deep part of that darkness. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ascension.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I swear we're in like the tail aspect of that Draco constellation, and that's why we ascend.
And
That's
it
why
plays
it's
out through
astro
the
and
whole
all of those
kundalini energy through
all of those
physically
type of
in the
concepts because that's
objective
where we
world.
are.
The
Exactly.
It
When we're
plays out through
talking about
men
those
and
high realms
women
of
marrying
reality,
each other,
but we're
coming
talking about,
together
and then look
to
at
create a
what
child.
happens when you don't
Because
activate the
speculatively
Kundalini.
speaking,
It
from my
stays
internal
at the
realm, they're trying to
at the
bring their
base of your
masculine ideas
spine.
and their
It
feminine
stays
feelings
down. So
together.
it's literally like
You basically coming up with
we
a
have to
purpose,
kind of
masculine,
further
and
channel
marrying
further
towards
down
that
the being that we are
purpose,
in.
which is
It's
feminine.
like
You do
we're
that
selves,
inside,
but
and it physically plays out as
we
you
need to
coming together
continue to
with
travel
women.
down,
It's almost
throughout
like
the being that we are in,
we're trying to look
to
for
understand
our
those
other parts
aspects,
outside of us,
to
which was
understand what
inside of
is
us.
lost in, so that we can get
Because
out of
the
that,
Indians and like how Dole Parliament talks
separate from
about
that
it, how
cycle.
they understood that everything outside of us is inside of us, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. That was all representations from of the external world. When I was in Tofino, they would have like little signs, a huge native population. Obviously, when you start going to those other regions in Canada, but they didn't
Like I
have a
said,
word for
can I show this picture?
like home or house or wilderness. No, they didn't have a name for wilderness because outside was the home. There was no
As you
separate
guys
from
could see
home and
right now,
wilderness. The
this is
the
a
words
picture.
were the same thing. It wasn't separate like that.
Right there, you should be able to see Venus,
So really think of that
which
mentality. Are
rises
you really
up,
going to
or
start
you could get
separating,
exalted there in the night.
internal
Spicy
natures and
hours.
external
They're
natures
in
when you don't
5
even
in the
do that?
morning,
When
all
there's
the
no
way to 6 in the
physical
morning.
representation.
So basically, I go outside
You look
and
at
look for the
yourself and
stars
physically
themselves and try
join
to
yourself with
compare
everything.
the
So what's going on
pictures that they provide us
subconsciously
in
is
astronomy with
reflecting
what's
that
going on
action,
outside. So I'm trying to see what
playing it out
happens
like
inside
that.
of me externally too. So I'm really doing real astrology. I'm being a real astronomer. I'm going out there. This is why Dolo the Parliament always says you gotta go outside to learn astrology. Yeah,
No
yeah.
worries.
And if when you actually see it, you make it those like almost a neurological, spiritual type of connection. Like it gets more uh, uh, astrology because more of a spiritual experience as a as opposed to regular astrology.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, 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 mm,
To do your
mm,
360, to do to check your 360.
100%, and you always it allows you to see how you correlate your own ideas together and things of that nature, and how you could create different constellations within you that plays out speculatively as light rays, ideas, thoughts. So you can see
Exactly.
those light rays and you go through them. The same way how those
Exactly, or opposed to regular
and that
astronomy,
could
when
tell
you
you.
just know
This is why they
angles
use
and
the
positionings
constellations or
of
stars
things
back
and
then
stuff
just to
like that. But
not get
now
lost
those
in the physical
anglings and
world.
positioning
Okay,
of things
so they know where to
have
go and where
significance,
north is, south is,
you know,
and things of
beyond
that nature.
just
They really had to
mathematical
become
value or
astronomers. They
stuff
had
like
no
that.
choice,
It
so
relates to
they
you
could
and your personal
maneuver
life,
their way through
and
that
it gives you
whole
all of this type
Earth,
of information.
terra
So it's
firma
really
chakra
bringing it
that we live on.
holistic.
Earth is a star because a lot of us we live on Earth, but we don't realize that it's actually a star itself. It has its own speculative energy. Earth deals with nurture, growth, and things of that nature related to the heart, the fourth house, family, children, and things of that nature. Mm-hmm.
And I could tell you if you're aligned.
Mm-hmm. 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 100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, abundance, learning, support, that type of shit. If you watch One Piece, Usopp is Earth. He has the toolkit and he's resourceful. That's Earth right there for sure, for sure. All right, yeah. All right. So looking at Wednesday, March 9th, Mercury is going into Pisces. Mercury is leaving Aquarius and going into 0 degrees Pisces. So we're starting to step away from that mental downloads and thinking and communicating about our associations and what we're mentally fixating on, and now we're starting to see have Mercury join the fray of Neptune, Jupiter, and the Sun kind of late too. So it's like you guys are gonna start to talk about these types of things, or these conversations are gonna start to come. Whereas before you were going through these things and you were experiencing it, it was like, am I going? Is it just me type deal? You're kind of experiencing everybody's energy, but it's not being placed in front of you for the conversation for your logical mind to process, because that's not what Pisces, all these Piscean energies, all of the planets that are native to Pisces weren't dealing with logic. They were trying to get you to understand this energetic realm. But now Mercury is making its way into this energetic realm. After leaving Aquarius, logical out Aquarius, now it's trying to see. This is the real moment to see if you have been
Mercury is
aligning
debilitated
yourself
and
and taking
Pisces,
heed, following
so
the direction
we
Pisces has
can't
been
even
giving you with the
we're not gonna
conversations
know
and
how to
associations that
think
you have
about
been
all those
having.
beams,
Because
illusions,
now when you're taking it in,
faith
all this
system
knowledge
properly,
and
trying to
associations that you have
interpret
into
these
this
things,
Pisces,
and
and then
just have
it's
from
all flunked
a
out,
logical based
and
perspective because we're
there's
coming
nowhere to
from
go. It
being so
doesn't propel
logical and
you
being so in the
through that water. It
air
doesn't link
realm,
up with the
flying
experiences
with
that
there
the
in
sun,
Aquarius,
moon, and Neptune was trying to show
coming
you.
down
And it
here
was like,
to swim and
it's going to hold you
communicate
back. You're going
about
to
those
try and look at
waters.
this realm of
That's a
reality too
separation.
logical. You're not going
We
to
may
make
go
that
through a
link that we were
lot
talking about
of
just now, that how the
instability. We may
physical
go through
and
a
the
lot of
spiritual
air, ideas,
always link
thoughts
up when you're
that
dealing with
shakes
the
our
truth.
water.
If you don't
We did
see
not
that link,
have that
if you're
right
flunked
type of
out
seeds at the
during Mercury and
beginning, the right
Aquarius,
type of
if you
thoughts,
don't find
the right
that
type
thought
of
process or have those
feelings and things
conversations.
of that nature. This is why everything happens in reverse naturally. If you know that, you could really correlate it to your time back then. You know you're going to go into Pisces, so you prepared your seeds for Aquarius, and now it's Pisces. You're already prepared, even though everything is in reverse. The opposite Virgo too. Pisces up there, telling, looking at down at Gemini, running around, communicating with that twin Gemini type of energy, trying to talk to everybody, trying to get to know everybody. And it sees Virgo's right there. Virgo is community, be practical. It's so far down there. It's trying to help everybody. And Pisces up there, it doesn't know if it wants to come down here to deal with these things. And it sees Sagittarius. The Sagittarius is the masculine side of Jupiter and Neptune. It's you going down here to play out your dreams and illusions, having faith in yourself.
For sure. How it all
spiritual sovereignty and things of that
leads into everything, and then so now really, Mercury doesn't Pisces, even like being into
we're gonna really Pisces be thinking about these things. Really, it's
like a double whammy with the square with Gemini and Virgo both squaring.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. And also, did you hear about him dropping his own like streaming service?
And it's interesting. With all of this Pisces energy,
what do you think? What he was doing during the Capricorn time?
Kanye is a Pisces moon, Gemini sun.
He took that
dropping
plan,
his documentary. During Pisces season, blows me away. He showed the real him. He showed the true him, his moon. He showed his like his broadest, like a closer, more personal version of him in this documentary. During Pisces season, which correlates with his moon, and he dropped it on. It was like it came out once every week on Wednesday, Mercury Day, and he's a Gemini, and it's a 3-part series. Gemini being the third sign, I was like, "Yo, what the fuck
Gemini
is going on? That don't make no sense."
Other way. Okay, other way. Still,
the same player.
Up. Whatever way it is, whatever way it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or other way around. Sun, Gemini, and then Moon in Pisces. Yeah. But yeah, for sure. Still flunked out either way. It's like Dr. Ali has the perfect description of him, the drunk prophet. Because with Gemini, although it rambles on and talks about everything, it's talking about the immediate truth. It's talking about the facts that are right in front of us. And then Pisces is like
this is why he changes so
encompassing everything. So this nigga's talking about the all-encompassing truth that is right in front of us all the time. So naturally, it's gonna sound fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Because
mutable,
just like what we were talking about at the beginning, when you're talking about these higher realms of reality energy, you can't have spring and winter. You know what I mean? That's what this nigga is trying to do, though. He's trying to bring spring into winter time, and it's like, whoa, this flash of warmth that just came down. It's like, whoa, what the fuck is this? What is going on? That's how Kanye hits people. And this gospel music during Pisces, like, come on, bro, like, come on. During all of these Pisces transits.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, him taking shape, him molding, yeah, for sure.
It's crazy how our Mercury, our thoughts and ideas are going back to that.
So definitely, and then with Mercury and Pisces, this is what we're going to be
Virgo, which is what Virgo's ruled by.
Talking about. We're really going to try and bring some logic structure to these types of
analyze our
these
dream and
understandings.
vision
And
that we've been
man,
paying
if you're not
attention to, the sun,
spiritually inclined,
where we've
you
been expanding and learning
you're gonna
from
get
Jupiter,
lost,
things of that nature. It's preparing
lost.
for that, really.
When you're on
And the
getting into
whole
this pool
sun,
that we're all joining in, the collective
sun semi
influence of
squaring
Pisces,
Venus, Mars,
like
and
we're talking about
Aquarius
it
is
extensively because
adding
this shit ain't no
more
joke.
emphasis. Even though it's not
It's
a
really
full
no
square,
joke, and
it's a
you can
semi
feel it.
square going
When
on with
everybody's
important planets that are right now in
when you really
Aquarius,
start to tune
really
into that
making you
vibe, it's
think
crazy. And if
Mercury
you're
about your
trying
dreams
to
and
bring
illusion
logic
and
and
faith
structure to it
systems, but make
that
sure you
doesn't
utilize
work,
that tension, that
man,
square, semi square going on with Venus and Mars to really do it for your association, to really do it based on thoughts and ideas that you've been building on. You're coming in. The Mars and Venus is really helping you to give more structure to that mutable water, but with air. But water and air do not get along together. Air moves water, and so on and so forth. And it creates clouds too.
Mm-hmm.
It creates clouds, so you can get lost.
Wholeheartedly, yeah, for sure.
Is it? It's reminding you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get what you mean, especially with that semi square, how it's that semi type of frustration can prepare you for the bigger ones. If you look at the Yeah, if you look at that analogy of a square, that 90-degree angle, like you're going to a wall, I can see how the semi-square would, it's that kind of slow down, pull you down energy that allows you to have the agility to
Mm.
turn and move at that same time. So don't be afraid
And
of
the
that
whole what you were
discomfort,
talking about
that
reminds me
especially
of
with all of this
you
Aquarian energy
basically learning how to
transitioning
walk, since
into
Aquarius represent our
Pisces,
chins, how we
be
esoterically
okay
walk
with
on
things
the whole
not
air realm.
making
We learn
sense
to
and
walk on
sit
water
in
and things
that
of that nature.
and
We're
really
preparing ourselves to be mermaids,
observe
swim with
it,
the whole
to really
collective. But right now,
to see what's
Mercury
going on, and to not
and Mercury is going on doing
be too
allowing us to go deep into the
volatile
water,
with it,
but walk a little bit.
because it's
And
not
then
going to
Venus
make
and Mars
entirely sense.
is in
And what we're
Aquarius,
dealing with are
healing us,
large
teaching us
concepts,
to walk
where we're
really in that
dealing with
water. Basically, that's what you're learning
concepts
how
of
to walk on
humanity
water,
in general,
like Jesus. I think.
encompassing all of us. So it's not something that's, oh, tomorrow I'm
Yeah,
gonna
no
get it,
chin.
or
Yeah.
it's all gonna. It's like you really have to you know, watch. And that's how it feels like within the world right now. It feels like we're really in this we're strapped into this driver's seat, you know, heading off, and you know, it's all we can do is watch. Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And yeah, he linked up with Mans, and he had associations and stuff like that too. He already linked up with Mans before all of that happened, or that's what led to him linking up with Mans and building the associations and stuff, which is cool. How that plays out. But yeah, so then we look at Thursday, March 10th, and then we're having the moon and Gemini, you know, being in the later degrees, coming into, you know, moving it closer into Cancer, but it's coming into a square with Neptune and Pisces. So already, I think this, just like what you were saying, is also preparing us for the full moon. You know, we're emotionally starting to you know, push out the things that we are really going to have to take in and process and practicalize when the moon's in Virgo. So we're really pushing out the desire for, you know, variety and conversation and information to be out there, really trying to spark desiring or wanting for the conversation to be had about our dreams and illusions, about the subconscious aspects that's going on within our reality. But it's such as
And
preparing us because
going from
we
the
with the
moon,
moon is internally making us want to
yeah,
have
it's
these
all about planting
discussions. It's preparing us
the
for the
right
full moon
seed
in
and knowing the
Virgo,
transit
because
really.
us
And
wanting to
the
push
moon
these
going
things
from
out is
Taurus
forcing
to
us. We
Gemini,
know
because
that
in
once
Taurus
we
we're stabilizing
Gemini talk
things,
about
we're
these
stabilizing
things,
our
we're
belief
gonna
system,
have to find a
our
way to
faith, and things
prove
of
it,
that
you
nature.
know,
So things
or we're
kind
gonna
of getting
have to
slowed down for the sake of being
find
grounded.
receipts,
And
you
when the
know,
moon moves
aka
into Gemini,
Virgo,
things gonna start
coming
speeding
down
up,
to
thoughts and
justify
ideas.
those
Things
type of things
might
and to
start getting
practicalize
chaotic and
those
things
things,
of
or
that
it's just gonna
nature,
stay
which is
within the
preparing
realm
you
of
for the
words, and you
moon
know,
in
it's gonna
Cancer, which is
make
gonna happen later on. If
things
you don't know how to
worse.
stabilize that
Imagine
mutable air,
Gemini
you're
being
not gonna
wind,
know how
you
to
know,
initiate the
being air
proper feelings
blowing
to
around
connect with
mist.
that wave.
You know what I mean? Now
With
it's like
Cancer,
you don't know anything anymore. Now you're just ultimately now it's fog. Before you were seeing images and hallucinations, but it would just be like
mm,
fog. You just don't know what the fuck is going on. So you definitely got to be careful with that type of energy.
mm, 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 mm,
Exactly, because you have to find what stables first, or what works first, aka Taurus. You know what I mean? You have to understand your value and your worth, and then you go and push that stuff out, and then you go and
mm.
communicate it and obtain information from your
So
surroundings
definitely make
after.
sure you
And then when you're
plant the
going into
right
Moon in
seed,
Capricorn, is where
considering
do you
the fact
direct
we have
this
the new
care?
moon in
You know,
Pisces.
or
So
what
we're
do
paying
you care
attention sun
about?
to what's
You
going on
know,
with our
what are
dreams and
you
illusion.
because
Then the
summer
moon
type
made us go
energy,
through
you
the
know.
whole
So what are you going to
birthing
start to
season, the
fully
spring season.
express? What
Aries,
do you want
Taurus,
to start to
Gemini. And right now we're gonna go through
you
the
know, to
summer
start to
exaltation.
manifest,
We're
or
gonna
to be the
exalt
full
or pay
how
attention
you
more
want
to
to
or
feel, the
ponder
state of
on
being
those
that
things
you're
we
in. You
already
kind
gave
of
birth to in the
come with
spring
that
season.
first
So
impression when
this
the
is
moon's
very
starting to
important
come into
to pay attention
Cancer,
to because we're switching to a whole new season.
of
And
that energy,
mutable seasons,
what you should
they
be
after
caring
them we
about,
have
because
cardinal seasons
before it's more
because
so
mutable seasons allow us to mutate out of our
you're
whole
in the
energy,
reality,
different
you
energy,
know, you're kind
birth,
of
then
responding to
exaltation,
what's
then
around you,
fall
but
and death.
now you're kind of
The 369
reflecting. Now it's
and
this
the whole in the
instance of
cloud is like
reflection, which isn't
spin.
going to come
And the
too
most
new
they are
since
the
we're
most
having all of
centered
this water
perspective because
energy
three is more
coming in, but
centered
it's
than
allowing you
two
to
and one, and then six is
reflect
more
upon
centered
these
than seven and eight.
experiences
No,
and how you should progress
what was it?
forward.
4 and 5, and then nine is more centered than seven and eight, essentially. Yeah. Mm. Masculine numbers, feminine numbers, and then you try to stay in the middle. This is why the whole Kabbalah is set up, though. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to come truth. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
7, 8. Mm-hmm.
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 Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Androgynous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that balance.
Mm-hmm.
And then now look at
100%,
that
yo.
concept, that androgynous.
And the
Now
whole thing
niggas
going
with
on with
33
when the
degree
whole
Masons, and
he
you
met
look at how
the whole white character that's with a big
how on that
smile.
high level
It's crazy
they
because
want
Truth basically
to
told him,
be
you gave
tread
up
the
your
line, the
virtues and principles for
transgenderism, you know,
what? For power,
the
which
being
is a
on
great
both, you know,
reminder of what we're
swinging
actually
both
doing here
sides.
down here
That
on Earth. We
reminds
can't
me
throw away
of
our virtues
Full
and
Metal
principles, or we're
Alchemist.
gonna get lost in
I don't
one
know if you
polar
remember in Full
shift.
Metal
And
Alchemist
guess what
how
Edward
in the
Elric
end
did
the guy was
to
trying to
get back
become
his brother?
God,
He
and
gave
apparently
up.
God
He gave
was
up his
represented
own
by the
Kabbalah
sun
tree,
and the
his
moon.
own way of doing
He wanted to
alchemy, his
become
own
truth,
Sephiroth,
and it was
things of that nature.
represented
And
by the
Truth
sun
told
and
him,
the moon
"You
coming together.
won because you
That
decided
sounded
to
like
uphold
some
your virtues
33
and
degree
principles."
Mason type ritual type shit, trying to become man and
Crazy.
woman, you know, type shit, you know, trying to ascend and have both of those aspects.
He went to
But that's
Pluto.
what's going on in our eternal natures. Our masculine aspect and our feminine aspect coming together to make the God that is you. But
I recommend everybody to watch Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood, not the older one. The Brotherhood is much more way better. Yeah, the ending of Brotherhood is way more better. It makes more sense. Yeah, it's one of the deepest animes I've ever seen. I think I've seen it in like middle school, going to high school. And it's so accurate, yo. The whole thing going on with the sacrifice at the end, them collecting other people's spirit. What do you think they're doing right now in the whole world? With the whole virus flowing. Really, yo, anime be on some shit, yo.
yeah. You decided to make it's the sacrifice, you know. Now you understand the story of Jesus and all of this other stuff. But the sacrifice, the Kabbalah, so that's crazy. Yeah. To really understand.
Yeah. It's basically, Pluto's Capricorn is preparing you for the opposite.
For sure, it'll help you understand
Moon and Gemini.
the
you have to
concept
collect your mind together. You
right
can't just be arguing with this thought, this idea with the whole Gemini twin energy. This is why it plays out through them as a person who jump from one person to another person to another person.
Collecting spirits.
They're doing the same thing within themselves. They're jumping from this idea to this idea to this idea. This is why they always get distracted easily. But this is why they also makes
talking about these internal natures
and things of that nature.
Wholeheartedly, for sure.
So that King Kongs with Pluto,
it's interesting. All right, and then
they know really they know
later
how to network
on
like
Thursday,
Aquarius, but they do it more now like a lower animalistic type of way, since
Pluto.
The second house or the third house,
so
Gemini is part of the below of the horizon sign,
is
as
gonna
opposed
come
to Aquarius, the 11th house now,
like,
with the whole collective
Pluto's what, like 27 or 28 degrees. Pluto that day,
making you realize. Hold on, I know you want to communicate about these dreams and illusion.
I mean,
with
Capricorn
going on with Pisces, but remember Capricorn, remember me, because we're gonna go through it in conjunction. Because I want you to transform when it comes to your business. I don't want you just to communicate about your dreams and being a la la land, things of that nature, because obviously there's going to be a square attention between the moon and Gemini and everything going on with Pisces and things of that nature. But when the moon goes into Cancer, that's going to really allow you to add that emotional initiation to connect with these dreams and illusion to give birth to the first part of the summer season. The Noah allegory, the birth, the Noah Arctic reading. To travel
and
through
fun
that water.
People who because they do different things.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And then you can see how the moon in Gemini, how it would get the dysfunctional side of it is that, not being able to sustain or to hold on to one thing, but it also helps break up the
Mm-hmm.
monotony of things and kind of open you up to different experiences. So if you wanted to
Mm-hmm.
work with it
The
within a
whole
positive
the
aspect
whole
to allow
charity.
it to
Mm-hmm.
break up your routine a bit or be
Ah,
open
mm-hmm.
to new aspects that you
You
can break up
basically
into
you
your
be on
routine,
your
but not
heart
to steer
chakra,
too
your
far away. Because
charity
remember,
energy,
Pisces,
while
Pisces is
going
ready,
against the
willing
crown chakra, and
to
so
put
that
an
nature,
illusion
how
for
you
you to
view the
go and
world.
lose
Can you
yourself
bring
into, and
those
that's
two
what.
things
But Pluto's
together,
there is
even though
not
they're
allowing that to
opposite,
happen. You're right.
opposite each other?
Pluto's
But
there
the
not necessarily
opposition
not,
really
but
force you
reminding you
to
is
pay
like, bro,
attention
you can go
to
and be flunked out, but
how
you're only
can
gonna end
you
up hurting yourself.
promote
Uh,
your home life, your
for
family
sure.
life, what
And
you
then
care
what's its
about
opposite
for the sake of
in fucking
Capricorn, because Pluto is
Cancer.
right there.
Yeah,
Can you
you'll know
bring that
exactly
opposition
what it was telling
together,
you
or
in
you someone who's
Gemini,
lost
but it was
and
just to
flunked
allow
out,
you to
so
get
you
that
end up
breathing room
separate. You have one
to
mentality
those
here,
new
another
ideas
mentality here,
so
and
you
you
can
can
break up the
put them
monotony, so
together.
you can
This is
come up
what
with new
astrology is
ideas.
teaching us.
Oh, this is
How
what
can we
my
put these
self-worth is,
mentalities
aka
together?
Moon and
Because
Taurus.
they're chakras,
Maybe I
the
can do
stars,
this with
they're
it. Maybe I can do
floating, and
that
you
with
put
it.
them
Maybe I can
together.
to give you that
You're really
openness to
learning how
start to
to
see where you can
measure,
place yourself. But
count,
Cancer's
give
asking
numbers
you
to
to
your
actually
stars,
place yourself
virtues,
somewhere
and
to
principles.
put that care into a particular area, and then now Pluto and Capricorn is going to be like, oh, that's where you want it to be. How strong is it? How strong is it?
Mm, 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 mm.
Yeah,
Exactly. And it's waiting for you to learn how to understand these things work together. It wants you to learn how to utilize it. Astrology is teaching you to think like basically like God, like the universe and things of that nature. To think in patterns, to think
mm,
in geometry, to think in elements, to understand cost, to understand different things, to understand life, which is what astrology is
yeah,
really
exactly.
about, as
And then that
opposed to
goes to show
surface
you,
level mundane
the even
astrology.
shows the levels of
Average
astrology,
astrologer
because
would
most people
just
know your
like
average person doesn't
tell you
have to
what you would
believe in
like to hear, as
astrology to
opposed to
know the
real
12 signs
concrete
off by
astrology,
heart. You know what I
the real
mean? But
astrology,
once you're able to
which is what
understand
we're
how
pushing here, and
Pisces
don't know the
interacts
power,
with
talk
Sag,
about it, things of that
Scorpio,
nature.
Libra, and all the other signs, now is when you're the creme of the crop. Now astrology is starting to show you its talents once you start adding into that blending aspect into it.
Mm.
Because yeah, that's what it is. Literally a pie. It is literally a 12 slice pie, but with
This is why
multiple
they were
ingredients.
so
Maybe the
into
planets
like the
are the
symbols of
ingredients
astrology,
in this
because they're
12
trying
slice
to
pie.
track down
I
where did
like
their
that
mentality go, where
analogy.
did their idea go, where their mind is right now. Astrology teaches you how to bring these things together, man.
Yeah, life.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Those larger aspects, like superficially, I don't know why you would be superficial with something like astrology when what we're talking about is pertaining to everything within life, so it's like yeah, yeah.
100%.
Your because look at people, look at the mindsets. It's funny. I remember talking to some people and they'll be like, I don't like astrology. Well, they'll be lost in sun sign astrology because they'll think that they're only a Leo, that people are saying that they're just Leo, and they'll be like, I don't like that, pinning me down to just Leo. I'm more diverse than that, or I'm not always like that and stuff like that. People would get lost in that. But how could such a dynamic being like us, with all of these different intricate parts that work together without you understanding it, how could we say that you are just one aspect, or that there's not a dynamic aspect to your personality, how your mind functions? It's incredibly diverse, you know what I mean? It's incredibly multi-pronged, but it's still so dependent upon your environment. So this is why the science of astrology really pulls that all together, pulls all of it together. Yeah. Moving on to Friday, March 11th, we're having so we're talking about the moon coming into Cancer, so it's going to start to square Chiron and Aries.
Chiron and Aries is
So,
actually preparing us for the sun in Aries.
I feel like we were talking about it before, and the other one where Chiron and Aries is really that wounded soldier, and it's in Aries. So it's our individuality, that individual spark is what is wounded, or what needs healing right now. And look at the world, you know, it's how hard it is to start things. Everything is so accumulated to a certain point, and so much responsibilities and ties and association of people. Where's the energy of how you can give birth to something new? You know, that's what needs to be healed, because we're just dealing with the things that we've already have had. So I feel like the moon, Cancer, especially going through this new cycle after the new moon, is kind of reminding us of that. It's causing us to reflect, and then as we're reflecting, we're noticing that frustration of the individual that is going on, and how it's getting neglected on that level.
In reverse, we're going through the other way around. This is why we experience squares and things of that nature, the cardinal signs. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is why the moon is exalted in Taurus, to make you first emotionally pay the right attention to your material realm. So when it goes into Cancer back home, and we know Taurus, the second house, sextile Cancer, is going to really allow you to nurture that terra firma, to really nurture that earth material that you
just like what you were saying, like when the
looking
house
for. But that's
preparing
going to happen when the
us
moon travels
for
to
Aries season, it's kind of like if Chiron's the old injury that you had before, the area that you've been healing and you've been working out in Aries season, now it's like, you know, maybe they try and go for your weak spot and you're like, psych, and you're like, dog, I'm not, and you think you're gonna catch me with that move again. But it's like, no, you're more dexterous, you know, you know where to move in that area, and you can heal other people within that area too, or help them, spark them up within that area, spark up their individual self within that. Yeah. And the moon in Cancer is really helping that, creating that square, creating that frustration for you to reflect. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And then the moon in Cancer is also going to quincunx Mars and Venus and Aqua and on Friday a little bit. So it's putting us into that new space, and then look what we were talking about, the energy of moon in Cancer, reflecting and really preparing of what you want to emotionally nurture with the moon and with Mars
This
and
is gonna
Venus in
allow
Aquarius. You have your heart set on moving forward,
since
but
the moon in Cancer
nurturing right now,
had it in
taking
conjunction
care of
with
what's
Mars and Venus
nurturing your dreams
in
and
Aquarius, the
illusions
11th house,
and
to remind
or
you about these things going on
your
with the
greatest
collective, to
desires
remind
and
you
your
of these
creativity
scientific thoughts, to remind you with all
right
this whole
now is where you need to
evolution that
be.
we're going
But
through
Mars
from
and Venus is
both a mental
kind
point
of
of view, but
adding
also
that
an
logical
operating point
aspect
of
of
view,
you
like
moving
crypto, the stock
forward,
market,
making
and
it
things of
harder
that
for you to
nature.
stop and
And right now
reflect.
with the
It kind of feels
moon
weird to stop and
trining
reflect,
Jupiter,
but it
is
just feels
this is
weird.
really allowing
Once you
you
dive within
to
that energy, you
emotionally,
understand
I
that
guess,
the
emotionally
reflection
download
helps
or
you move
intuit
forward.
using your intuition.
If you're not
A
willing to
lot
take a
of these
step
things are
back, then you'll
building
never
up
be able to
as the
move
sun went to
forward.
Aquarius,
AKA,
and right now the sun
and physicalize
is in
that.
Pisces, allowing you
If
to
you're not
bring
going
these
to
kind
invest into a
of
business and
trine
put
energy
money
is
into
going
it,
to
you're not
create
going to make any money.
opportunity
So
to that
that's how
strong
it ends up playing
initiation of
out.
the water to feel about these things, as opposed to being flip-floppy with all the mutable water coming from Pisces.
And then
This is
now
why
looking at
Cancer may
Saturday
not get
on
along
the
with Pisces,
12th,
because they're too flip-floppy.
that's
They try to see
when
from
the
two point of view, the
moon in
Scorpio point of
Cancer
view,
goes over
understand
Jupiter,
fixation on
the
your emotional
Sun,
water.
and
Also, they
Neptune and
understand
Pisces.
birthing emotional water, but it might be too weak in a sense. And the
So
moon
how
in
you think
Cancer
that trine
really
is going
allowing
to
you
be
to
hitting it?
propel yourself forward. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. For sure, for sure. And yeah, it's kind of like that. If you look at it, it's kind of like that. The first instance of water that you get, if you look at the progression of things, it's and when you get into Pisces, it's like you're going back to double check what was in that, what was in what you had initiated in Cancer. So it really plays in hand in hand, whereas Pisces is the end result, but it all started in Cancer. So when the moon's in Cancer, what's being reflected? Where it all started. So it'll be easier to kind of find your starting point with that trine, and where those emotions began that led you to have these beliefs, and what led your subconscious to be filled with these images and imaginations. hmm Really propelling us forward with that
The
Jupiter, Sun, and
sun
Neptune all
conjuncting
being in there.
Pisces,
And
that's
then on that
bringing
same
your
day,
awareness, your main spaceship, to really to that
Pisces,
greed
I mean,
world,
the
to
Sun
the world
is
that
going to
people
be
call the
directly on
ancestor
top
realm,
of
the realm that people
Neptune.
call many things, like
So
in Egypt,
it's
there's
like
halls of
we're
Amenti and things
really
of that
getting the
nature. You might
scope.
this is where you might
Saturday is going to
experience
be
you
such a
thinking you're
reflective
talking
day,
to
and look at
angels,
we're talking about
which
the
is talking to
moon
thoughts
in
and feelings,
Cancer
which is
on
kind of feminine
Saturn Day.
energies.
So
You might
it's
feel like you're
we're
talking to
being hit
aliens,
with all of
like
this
young Pharaoh.
reflection
Young
energy
Pharaoh, I
on
think his moon is in
Saturn
Aquarius, so when
Day
he tells you
that
he talk to aliens,
and that we're
he
gonna have
really
to
did.
bring
But
structure to. And
it's
then
on
look
a
at all the Capricorn energy
yeah,
that is
too.
going on
But
too,
it's on a
which is very
speculative
interesting. Or
point of
that it may
view.
be
If you don't
challenging to have
understand that,
these
you're gonna get
reflections
lost in the
because it's
operator
happening
point of
on
view.
that
Oh,
day.
what do you mean
Or it's going to you're gonna
got
feel
taken
that
by aliens?
it's not going to be something that you want to do
Based on what they
necessarily,
taught
but
you,
it's going to be something that you're
indoctrination.
kind of forced into, especially with those trines going on. That it's just like it's happening. It's quickly progressing, and these are things that you have to go through. Um, But yeah, I feel it's going to remind you of that starting point where that first care that you had given that led to these subconscious beliefs. You're really going to come into awareness of that on Saturday.
Yeah, it was. It was real on a lighter density level, but not on a heavy density level. And unless they spend it enough time to accumulate these thoughts and feelings all the way to lead them into a certain chaotic situation, which is what we see celebrities go through since they're shaking hands with multiple people. So it's easier for them to experience this whole energy that we see on the outside and things of that nature. Like if you want to learn more about astrology, like study celebrities, especially that new moon, full moon. This is why they're
abducted by aliens
because they're chains that has diamond. Looks like they're wearing constellations and things of that nature. And all them as stars are going or got trapped by the 10th house.
Exactly. And on that level, man, if you really understood the power of your mind, it doesn't even fucking matter if it actually, man, if you believe that it happened, it affects your body within that. So it's like you're just really neglecting the power of the mind when you try and say a person, you know, didn't go or that's not real, Does the person believe? Does the person believe it? Then they're making it real. They're making it real.
And you get beyond level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. And this is where you get to see people like Nas, Jay-Z, them coming from an old era but surviving these type of situations. And I'm not saying that they're not gonna die or something's not gonna happen to them, but you gotta really pay attention to what they brought to the music business. They need them a lot of money. It's all because these masons and so on and so forth, they're just looking for talented people, artistic people, so they could make a business about what they're doing, which is what
celebrities,
really
stars.
Hip hop started in the streets, then got commercialized by them, and they make the most money at the music business. This is why Kanye is always fighting them.
Shine bright
Jay-Z
like a diamond.
His whole Rock Nation, everything, whatever is going on down there, we don't know. It's like they understand the whole battle.
By the 10th house, yeah, exactly. We're the structure, platform. That's the platform that they're on.
I don't want to do nothing with this. Man, you getting lost.
Yeah.
This is where you learn about the
His own label.
Mm-hmm. 100%. 100%. And what did I want to say?
Yeah. I hear people, and that's a lot with the conscious community, the love and light type aspects. People wanting to focus on that, not understanding the duality of the nature that we live in, and how yin energy, negative yin, whatever you want to call it, that receptive energy is really what's going to bring you closest to the spirit realm. So when you're talking about dark, God is in the darkness. That's where he was, and then he created the motherfucking light. That's what so God was in the dark, but everybody was let's go to the light. Let's go to the light. But God was in the darkness. So it's like when you're dealing with these negative energies,
guess what? April
we don't understand these things, you know. We shouldn't be afraid of it. Demonic energy and stuff like that. Being a human in this realm of reality makes you a demon. You're already demonic. Just by having a body, you're already doing blasphemy to your spirit. Your spirit's no thing. So it's like you're already being demonic. and now you're trying to shun what you
What are
already
you
did.
talking
So yeah, I wholeheartly
about?
agree
100,
with what you mean. Like they're
100%.
playing a
Like
game on a
when you see
larger
the whole
level,
like
playing with energy that we're
uh
scared to touch with, that we're
yeah,
scared
like when you see the
to
whole Muslim
juggle.
community praying at
But we
certain
already
times,
are.
like they pray Fajr in the morning, 6 in the morning. What happens 6 in the morning? The sun rises. There is the exaltation of the sun, and then they pray when the sun is in the center of time, which is around afternoon. I think 12 o'clock. And what we have 12 o'clock, we have the I think what do you call it? We're having the whole summer season
Man,
going from um
it's funny we talk about
Cancer all the way to
Mason
Leo, and
numbers.
then they
March
pray
13th,
another prayer
that's
at
falling on a
Virgo time,
Sunday,
and then the last prayer is
and
at nighttime
then
around,
that's
I
the day
believe,
that. Yeah, I
Catholic
know,
time.
right?
Yeah,
And then the
so it's
moon
like
directly
they
opposites
correlating their time
Pluto on that day.
for all
The
type of
moon
rituals. And if
goes
you
in
know
Cancer
how
is
to do the same
exactly
thing, imagine if you could
on the
use
13th.
the whole same Muslim energy of praying 5 times a day for your own goal, for your own ideas. Just imagine how
Bruh,
much faith
bruh.
you could build on those ideas as opposed to doing it for someone else.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. How, man, we all already doing that. That's what's crazy, man. Look at all these religious
You guys
people
know
that's
how
gonna
much
call you
money the
pseudo
Kaaba
or
in
say all
Saudi
these
Arabia
things. Like,
brings
bro,
every
we're all
year?
brothers.
How
Like,
many
what are
people
you
from
talking
different
about,
countries
fam?
they spend money
You're
every
lost.
year to
We're
go
talking
there
about
to
the same
visit to the
shit.
first place
I just put the two and two
first place
together.
that Abraham went to and built his rock, which is crazy because all the Masons are doing are telling us, hey guys, we came up with this idea called Abraham, we gave birth to it, and we told you guys
Aries.
we built him a building and you guys should visit it. That's crazy. You know, literally a black box in the middle of the desert. Like if I explain to you this way, you might argue this is so flunked out. Why would I go visit a black box in the middle of the desert? Like they bring a lot of money, yo. Tourism, all type of things, yo. And they they use the Kaaba to direct all the blood sources, which are the blood flow to one area of this
How much
geographical location,
energy,
body parts, which
and then
will
look at what
inside it.
they're
So think
able
about how
to
they
accomplish within
control this being
their own selves.
based on
Yeah,
whole mass type
whatever
of ritual.
direction that they would have put it in, it would have been the same energy being able to be manifest.
Yeah, the Eastern people.
It's probably fucking ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yup. Mad rituals, mad opportunities for ritual.
100%, yo. Wow.
For sure. Black Box. Yeah, man.
And the moon. Yeah. This has really challenged you emotion, which your emotions and feelings, they want to feel comfortable at home in the whole below the horizon type of thing. That this is why the 4,000 associate with secrets, privacy that you keep to
Man, that's
yourself,
crazy.
your
And then
home life, and things of
really
that
look at
nature.
the
But Pluto
dynamics
being
that's
in
being played out. Because look
Capricorn,
at
there
how
it wants you to
that
transform how
for
you
the last
perceive.
decade,
So right now
how
you have
that
to
was the
travel
enemy of
all
Western
that distance for this
civilization.
black hole that you
Uh,
understand that this
terrorism
unseen
and
realm universe
Arabs
happening.
as
A
being
lot of
put,
crazy
the
things.
Eastern
Lose your
people
job,
being put
be
as
successful,
our enemies, and look what they're doing.
make a lot of
And look
money
at the
or lose a lot
lifestyles
of
that
money
we
and
are.
things of
More
that nature. But
talking
first you have
about
to
the
prepare yourself
technology and the
when it comes to
more
your
left brain
emotional
type of shit.
nature.
Look at the right brain
Know
type
what type
things that
of water you try to get birth
methods
to
that
when
be
it
going
comes
on
to
over there.
for health and cancer. Make
But
sure
it's
that
more
it's
so
about
the
feeling
awareness,
comfortable
it's like
about
we're left brain
Capricorn
but
type of
act
things,
right brain,
definitely related
under
type of
our
things because Pluto
noses,
there,
and
transformation.
they're
So let's
right brain
correlate those
on the
things
top, but they're
together.
acting left brain under their noses, like a whole loop de loop type shit. That's a mirror reflection. But yeah, on the 13th, that the moon is gonna opposite Pluto, so it's definitely going to be a powerful day. Who knows what's going to fall or happen on that? Wait a minute. We're not coming up on Easter yet. No, that's in April, right? That's in April.
And Capricorn is made up by the whole Saturn archetype, and Saturn does not reflect light, while the moon whole energy is all about acting as a satellite. This is why you always see the sun and the moon together. This is why the sun travel really creates the moon based on reflection and hitting the water on Earth here, Malakut, and then you see the whole moon as an orb going through its cycles depending on how close we are to the sun or how far we are to the sun. But with the opposition to Capricorn and Pluto right there, there's a lot of darkness. Our heart chakra, we can't see that. We don't understand that. We can't reflect that. It's really going to the unknown, essentially.
Exactly, and that's what the reflection, the reflecting leads you to. You know, it lets you know what you truly care about, and the comfortabilities that you're willing to sacrifice for that Capricornian energy. You know, the more Cancerian or the more positive that Cancerian aspect, you're gonna start to understand what you truly care about and how to truly nurture it, and you're gonna be willing to let go to some of the discipline. You'll be willing to let go and transform or get rid of those comfortabilities because of that's what the reflecting opportunity really gave you. Yeah.
Write your name every day in English and capital, which is a double entendre. The capital as the letters in capital, but capital as the capital of America, the capital of Canada, the DC, Washington. Put yourself in the capital. Yeah. Why can't I write my name in small letters? Like, you never think about that, especially in government type of documents. Capricorn. Cap. This is why people like to say no cap. What do you think people are saying?
Yo, that's crazy. It also reminded me, when you're talking about that, reminded me of silver and lead. Is lead conductive? Yeah, because lead is Saturn, and then silver is the moon, you know, and then moon is, you know, conductive. Electricity is supposed to pass through it, and I don't think that happens with lead.
Oh, we forgot the moon and Leo squaring Mars. What is it? It's gonna be squaring the North Node and the South Node at some point.
We've been from that.
If I'm correct.
That's a whole ritual. That's crazy. That's crazy.
100%. So while all these things go on with your emotions, you plan to transform yourself. You're on an emotional level. For Capricorn, you're having your moon being going to Leo, and that's gonna really remind you of that fate thing that's gonna happen.
And money.
Right now we're on Sunday, and this is where
and capital money. Yeah.
Mercury is squaring the nose, so we're thinking about it right now. But on Sunday, we're gonna be there emotionally. Are we emotionally ready to express that fixed fire?
Exactly. Why is it all in caps? Yeah, for sure. That's your John Doe. That's
to deal with these things related to us changing
for sure.
Fate, destiny, and things of that nature. But you guys remember that the moon and Leo was going through that square going on with the North Node in Taurus and the South Node in Scorpio. This is like an animalistic fight, animals fighting. It's gonna be opposite to Mars and Venus in Aquarius conjuncting each other.
All right, yeah. So that's the week.
Why it's almost going to be seeing some of
that's the alignments and transits going on for this
week.
But
down here, you can see those animals. You can see
hope you all enjoyed it.
Your pride, of that nature, the low animalistic nature, the scorpionic things coming out the water, the beast, and then you got Taurus, this stable breakhead mentality is going through things, trying to break them. So this is going to be a really important day, Sunday the 13th.
Oh yeah,
expect a lot.
Yeah. The moon and going into Leo.
I'm really thinking about that already. That's the whole point of doing transit, so you can see what's coming. 100%. We do the same thing. Yeah. Why do you think the Catholic Church killed tarot card readers? They got rid of astrologists and things of that nature because they want to tell you the time of your Lord, their Lord, the sun, and things of that nature. And when you consider where the whole prime meridian is, the first prime meridian was in America 50,000 years ago, or like a little, I think 100,000 years ago. Right? Then it moved to Egypt. Then guess where's the current prime meridian? The city of London. Somehow, and you know back then you somehow, and a lot of people they like to mention that the first church was actually in Ireland in those northern areas. That's the first church, and the Catholic Church, which was created around like Germany, things of that nature, went to war with the original church and took their identity type of situation.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a heavy day, man. Yeah.
Jacobites, that's it. The Jacobites, yeah.
Exactly, and plant the right seeds.
So
you can ride the wave and not be victim to it.
Their holy holiday, the whole family, the Jacobites,
Done being
on
victims
Saturday,
to it. We're all in these collective
energy.
energy.
Hebrew type of approach, but a lot of people do not know it. They went into war when the Catholic Church made that day on Sunday. So they're fighting a whole nother war, and you hear about the Jacobite War. The Jacobite War was literally every person in that family fighting against them. Some of them lost, some of them won, and things of that nature. If you guys know anything about it, it's like the whole war and things of that nature. This is why actually that place of Ireland, Welsh, is very important because it's the closest place
London,
towards
right?
the Americans,
Greenwich,
Indians,
yeah.
whatever you call it, the Moors, and so on and so forth. This is why
Somehow.
most likely if someone's going to communicate with the Indians first or know about them, there's going to be people there, Ireland, Wales, and things of that nature. But
Whoa, that sounds exactly like with Ireland. That there's the story with King James and his line, how they got usurped, but they call them the Jacobites. Like there's like a tribe of people called the Jacobites that were displaced from their throne online, but they were the original people that were there before.
Exactly. Yo. The the Hebrew G. Crazy things. 100%. And like when you hear about the whole war going on between the Catholic Church, the Western Empire, the Western European Empire versus the Eastern part of the European Empire, because the Eastern European Empire fell down with I think Turkey, Greece, and things of that nature fell down. The Ottoman Empire, the Muslim, they took down half of their empire, things of that nature. It was playing out the East versus West things because in the East they had their own church patriarchy, and in the West they had their own pope.
Exactly, and vice versa. And vice versa. You know, they'll be the first ones to contact. And then it plays out because if Leo represents the constant, if Leo represents America, you know, it's falling down on, you know, Cancer and Leo and Virgo is hitting America, starting from the West to going to the East.
Which led to them going to war.
England's activity in America, and then, you know, Jamaica and those islands, and then look at their flag being the lion. Why is it the fucking lion, bro? So it's like, and look at the proximity, and look at the Hebrew aspects. Look at the people in the Americas, the mound builders, talking about being the followers of Moses. Look at the Rastafarians. Yo, they're mad Jewish. They're or Hebrew, I should say. Hibernia is the name of the island, and all. Legit. Yup. Jacobites, man, it's crazy. Yeah.
It is crazy. You sit back, exactly. Yo, they've been doing the whole gang banging, blood versus crib on a big level, on a smaller level too, really. So it makes you like really for 1,000 years, making you guys go to war, kill each other, create a new race, mix two races together, create a new breed. We've been mixed, we've been genetically modified. There's no point of holding on to a race at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Which is happening now on another level, yo, because that's crazy. In Dr. Ali's book, when
They're
he
taking
was
them,
talking
they're
about
confusing their mind
he was kind of just breaking
from
down the Arabic
from
script or
first
script
starting to
in
make
the
them making
Quran,
them
and he
mix
was
on a
just talking
genetic
about how they
level.
use
They're mixing
blue
the new mentalities being
to
mixed.
associate with
You guys gotta do
to
this,
associate with
something new. For example, Portugal is
the
with
pale
Spain.
skin with the
So
Romans
that
type
means at some point
deal,
the people of
and how
Portugal was
Moorish was
considered
more of the
Spanish too.
red
But
type of
Portugal, I guess, at some
representation,
point
just
decided
the
to
red and
claim their
blue.
own
Even back then, the
sovereignty and
Ottoman
say, nah,
Empire
we're
versus
Portuguese, we're
the
something
Roman
else.
Empire was blue versus red.
But
You know
but
what
it's
I
the same
mean?
group of people.
In
So
an
like, what are we
aspect
even
of,
talking
and
about?
same thing
We're
that
arguing about
is going on within these
four-dimensional type
days.
of things,
I
like
think that's
names,
crazy.
titles, and things of that nature. Really, this is
Blue
why the
versus
term
red.
Spanish is so broad, like because Mexicans they speak Spanish, but they're really Spanish because they got conquered by the conquistadors and so on and so forth. So
Thousands of
you
years,
they
bro.
really
Thousands
confused
of
us
years.
about the whole idea about race. Are you what's your race based on geographical location, based on
And
language, based on how do you look like? They made so many
yup,
categories. They made you guys separate yourself from yourself.
mutts. Yeah, for sure. Um, and look at what that's doing. For sure. Once you start doing the due diligence, it was like, okay, so I'm Native American. Oh wait, so there's West Africans that were coming over. Oh wait, then so everybody was mixing and mingling. So am I West
Yeah.
African or am I Native American or am I an amalgamation of both? Or did we come from Europe and then it came from over here? Or was I? You know, it's like you don't even fucking know at this point. You know.
Take care, guys, and follow your higher natures. Don't get lost here.
Yeah, or something else. Yeah. So many puzzles, so many puzzles that you have to go and realize that you ain't shit, that you're nothing, that your spirit is nothing. Mad loop de loops. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, let's end it off over here. Um, thank you for tuning in. Check out our website, truespace.biz, our Instagram, truespace, and same thing with our YouTube and everything. Like, subscribe, much appreciated. Hit us up if you ever want our astrological services. All right, peace. Always, always, always.